Hi, welcome to the Social Enterprise Podcast. I'm your host, Rupert Scofield, President and CEO of the Finca Microfinance Network and author of the Social Entrepreneur's Handbook, How to Start, Build, and Run a Business That Improves the World. I'm here tonight with my guest Diana Seirra, CEO of Bee Girl, Ryan Walter, co-founder and CEO of the Compost Crew, and his sidekick Brian Flores, fellow co-founder and COO of the Compost Crew. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So let's start with you, Diana. Tell us exactly what is Bee Girl? That's BE-girl.
Well, I think the most important thing to say about Bee Girl is that it's a social enterprise focused on empowering women through design. And I'm very passionate about products and objects as tools for actually giving access to opportunities. So that is like in a nutshell what we do in Bee Girl. And I'm extremely passionate about access to menstrual management products, basically sanitary pads, because they're kind of like the very fundamental for a woman to have mobility and to be able to participate in the economy, to go to school. And that's basically the reason why I'm here, because it has been a very unexplored area, something that people haven't been putting a lot of attention to. And I felt as a responsibility as a woman, as a designer, to actually put my skills to try to make a difference in this space and create something that is affordable, yet aspirational and high performance for girls, to keep girls at school.
Let's talk to you, Ryan and Brian. You guys are making a contribution in the environmental space, but you're addressing that problem not, talking politics or trying to change policies or through regulation. So Ryan, tell me exactly what is the Compost Crew? What is the value proposition for a customer like me?
Well, there's three major value propositions that we offer to our customers. The first one is reducing your carbon footprint. When you put your food waste in the garbage disposal or put in your trash, it ends up going to an incinerator or overwhelming a water processing facility. What happens is when it ends up in an incinerator and or landfill, it ends up decomposing anaerobically without oxygen. Different microorganisms are at play there, and methane gas is released, which is about 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So you end up really reducing your carbon footprint. Even a family of four can definitely have an impact on that. The second proposition is, resources are scarce in this world, and there are a lot of valuable nutrients and minerals in our food. And when they go to a landfill, they're not going to be touched until they figure out how to reap minerals and vitamins, which I'm not sure I'd be interested in the food that came from that process. From landfills, we have to take the stuff that's coming from a lot of times synthetic fertilizers to grow our food. And that goes to the third proposition, which is the manufacture of synthetic fertilizers. And this is kind of a little neat fact. Actually contributes to 20% of this country's carbon footprint, and contributes to a large amount of our demand on oil. So reducing the demand on oil is the third.
Okay, so there had to be a moment when you got the idea to do this. So describe that moment for us.
So I got the opportunity to travel to Uganda when I was doing my training and working with this women's group. I was getting a lot of girls that they were really young knocking the door to be included in these training workshops, but they were supposed to be studying. And I started asking, but it was not really clear until I went and talked to the school teacher, and she told me the huge burden that girls have to go through when they get their period. Because basically they have no access to sanitary pads, and they have to fold thick pieces of cloth and stuff it in their underwear. They still have leakage. The piece of cloth folds. And because they're afraid of walking around with that stigma of having blood stains on their uniforms, they just decide to stay at home. And you do that every month. Therefore, your school grades drop And since the school fees are so expensive, girls end up just being pulled out of school and end up just digging or doing farm work. For me, that was extremely shocking as a woman, as a designer, because even though I come from a developing country, I am from Colombia and I am from a rural area, for me, it was granted that girls have access to pads. And seeing this reality was extremely shocking, but at the same time, an opportunity to come up with an idea, which was extremely simple. It was just taking the same benefits that you have in a disposable pad, replicating them with high performance textiles. So you have the waterproof features and the permeable, top that you can attach to your panties, but it's just with materials that they're reusable, that you can wash, that you can reuse. And that was kind of like the aha moment. It was very simple, but that is the whole thing why I'm doing this. It came out of that just simple idea that I pilot with the girls.
That's amazing. And so what is the cost to a girl and her family of this?
Well, usually for a girl, a pack of sanitary pads, disposable ones, is $3.50 in pretty much most of the rural areas of Uganda, Rwanda. So we're talking about girls that their annual expenditure in menstrual products, which is just barely underwear and pieces of cloth, is $3 a year. My solution costs around $2.5, but it's just good for 1 year. So for $2.5, you will be able to be protected for a full year.
Fantastic. And that, I think, all of us social entrepreneurs who work in developing countries, that is probably the key thing. It's not enough to have a great idea or a great product, but the people have to be able to afford it. Because, as you know, a lot of these people live on $1 a day. So for them to buy anything from a social enterprise, they're giving up a meal. Maybe they're giving up a whole day of food. Okay? So Brian, you're the COO. You're the real, the working guy who's on the front line there making this work. So how does, explain exactly how the process works?
All right, so when you sign up for the Compost Crew, we deliver one of these buckets to your doorstep, or if you're lucky enough to have signed up at the farmer's market, you'll take one home with you. And you see it's just a regular 5-gallon bucket, and we use a modified lid. The lid is odor tight, so once it's sealed or closed properly, you're not going to smell anything. The rodents aren't going to smell anything, and they won't get in there. And so that was a choice that we made for preventing any rodents and pests. You see the compostable liner made from plant material, so it'll decompose in a composting facility. And a little rubber band just to keep that bag up for making adding to the bin easier. You would separate out your organics, being your food scraps, post and pre-meal, and the list goes on for what's compostable. We concentrate on food waste. Of course, yard waste is also compostable, but we concentrate on collecting the food waste because that's where the most nutrients is and will bring the most value to a finished product and at the end of the line. And so just like recycling and trash service, we come by once a week. We wipe down the bin of its moisture and replace a new liner for you. And you just keep going and going and going. And then every 6 months, we make compost soil available for our customers if they want it. So they can add that in their gardens. And we find that many of our customers either do a little bit of gardening or, have little food stands during the spring and summer.
So Diana, let's get back to your story. So you left me, on the edge, just really dying to learn, once you got past the idea stage, and I assume, did you actually designed these pads? Oh, you brought one. Fantastic.
Of course.
Okay.
I always keep it in my pocket. So what happened after that? So as I said before, I had this idea of copying literally the benefits of the disposable with reusable materials. And I just took my pad and just exactly replace the materials that you have. For example, we have here waterproof on the bottom, and we have a mesh on top. Initially, not right now, we're using the sports materials, but initially this was made, the very first prototype, out of an umbrella and a mosquito net.
No way.
Yes, we designers, we're pretty much kind of like the MacGyvers. The proposition is really simple. We have a waterproof envelope that you can stuff with absolutely anything. So the girls, as I explained before, they were using pieces of cloth, but they were stuffing their underwear. So what I did is just add the waterproof component and the fact that this can attach to the panties, like any other disposable pad will do. So I did my first prototype out of the mosquito net and the umbrella. And when we finished the pilot, we actually did a end line. And it was just so amazing because pretty much the girls all loved the pad. And the only thing that they didn't like was the color, because initially they were made black. So I had all this fabric that I got from the market. And I just thought, we're talking about blood. Let's make those pads black. And they were like, oh no, we love the pad, but we want it to be colorful. We want it to be girly and puppy and, have all these beautiful things that you have when you wear some fashion. And as one of the girls said when we were talking about this solution, she said, like, I'm proud to be girl when I'm wearing this pad. So that's actually the reason why we have the brand Be Girl. Because it's not just about the product, it's everything that a product brings to you. The sense of empowerment, of ownership of your body, the fact that you know that you're protected and that you can reach the sky if you want to because you have the tools to do so. That was the whole beginning of Be Girl, and it's empowerment through design because, as I said before, access to products and tools is access to opportunities.
Wow, what an inspiring story. So tell me, like, where are you, like, right now in terms, like, if I go to Uganda, how many young girls are going to be using this product?
We have deployed 5,500 units, but having an idea is just like 10% of the whole equation. How is it that you're going to make this thing viable or sustainable long term? So I decided just to quit my job and just dedicate myself fully to this in order to see it through. I actually have the vision that this pad is not a pad that is designed for girls in Africa or Latino America. It's a pad designed for women all over the world. Either because you want a pad that is affordable and really high performance that you just need to buy once a year, or because you want a pad that actually takes care of the environment, and by using it, you will be easily taking off the waste stream 140 pads a year just by using this.
Let's talk to these two gents about that financial side. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but the fact that you're still here 3 years after you had this idea by itself is you beat the odds already, both of you really. What did you start with in terms of capital? Where did it come from? How much was it? And when exactly did this business break even and start becoming profitable?
So our financial history is an interesting one. It was very low cost of entry. We were using a friend's parents' truck, leasing it to us for $100 a month to start out, and we each put in about $2,500 over the first 6 months each. We started the business and in May of 2011. At that point, we decided we weren't going to launch till we had a critical mass. Someone did not do the calculations on that because we started after we had 20 customers, and we were not putting any value on our time at that point. It was just trying to cover our actual expenses. And that was in May. December, I've looked this up, we had 30 customers. So we got one customer about every month for the first 10 months in business.
Wow.
And we were getting ready to call it quits. And we were like, obviously this isn't sustainable. And we came up with a model, kind of collaborating with each other, a community-based model. And that model is basically we do a pilot program. We offer a discount to a town of Somerset or Chevy Chase, a municipality or an HOA or something. And if we get a critical mass of people that sign up, because most of our costs are gas and labor, then we'll offer a huge discount on our normal rate. So we did our first pilot with the town of Somerset and got about 24 customers with that. So we doubled overnight in size. And they all pretty much stayed on after the pilot for a long-term discounted rate. We've done that about a dozen times since. And after 3 years of 300% growth in revenue year over year, we now service about 1,600 homes in DC, Montgomery County, and we just added Baltimore. Yeah. A big challenge that we've seen is a stigma. It's food waste. It's disgusting. We don't want, not in my backyard. You know, it's a landfill. Yeah. It's treated actually until recently by, unless you're below a certain scale, by the county as a landfill. And so there's this stigma where really, if every county could have their own composting facility to be able to sort their own food waste, be realistic, you know, landfills fill up because you're not taking anything out. With a compost facility, it's a loop, it's a cycle. You put stuff in and you get stuff out. And once you reach that critical mass, you have the land that you need. You will never need any more. You got 30% of your solid waste stream or more dealt with. And it's, to me, the logical way of the future.
We're a part of a movement, and it's been amazing to see over these past years how much more popular it's becoming and how much influence we actually are having in the community that we grew up in.
People come to our stand and are like, "Oh, you guys are the compost guys, right? I need to sign up." You know, that did not happen the first year and a half. Yeah,
and
business.
And I mean, we're starting to have to get into these local politics and things like that, and it's just amazing to be a part of something like that. And we can say 10, 20 years down the line, we helped bring composting to this area. We were the front runners there. It's really something. That's what gets me going.
What would you say to somebody who's maybe taking those first steps on the journey? Maybe they're still thinking about it. Maybe they're scared to death, you know, thinking, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? This sounds really cool, but, it's kind of scary. What would you say, Brian, Ryan?
Well, I'm still scared, so there's that. That's definitely something that gets me.
Yeah, you show it too, I have to say. You look absolutely terrified.
It gets me. Well, but you learn to use that as a little bit of a motivator. You are probably going to be out of your comfort zone more than you'd like, and you will be doing things and learning things as you go. And you're not going to get it right the first time. It takes time, and I'm lucky to have a great partner that we've always been good at bouncing ideas off each other, making one person slow down or pick somebody else up. And so, that fear it's a good to have, and let it motivate you. Don't be scared of it.
If it's your first business, it's a good idea to go into business with a partner. You're going to need that moral support. One person's not feeling too good. They think they should fold. Another person says, nah, man, we had a bad week. Let's step back up. And so having a partner for your first business, especially when you're learning and you don't have the experience, I think is something that is definitely very useful.
We already went through the hurdle of getting this technology, as simple as it looks, patents. And I think that's something that I really want to come across in this podcast is like, if you have a good idea, patent it. Not because you want to keep other people out of the market, but you want to make sure that if you have something that can shake someone else's market, make sure that you're covered so you're not stopped in creating and changing those status quo. For me, it's extremely shocking the fact that we think that disposables should be the way to go for the whole world, especially when we live in a world that is finite in resources. So who say that reusables have to be for people in challenging conditions? Why? Why disposable have to be the norm and the way to go? I'm about to embark in this journey to, just prove the world that there are other alternatives to disposable. I have been going around this idea of design for empowerment, and I basically come up with 4 principles, which is first, empathy, resourcefulness, collaboration and respect, and the last one, crucial commitment, endurance, because this is really tough. It takes life, it takes sometimes your self-esteem, because you doubt absolutely everything in this planet. You don't know if you're doing the right thing. You don't know if because your bank account is in zeros that you're being a total failure. Like, if this type of your journey is one of those that, like, it tests you in every single way. So you have to be committed, that don't give up if at the first year you haven't breakthrough, the second year, the third year is a whole learning curve. And the metrics that you use for measuring your success are different. So just be mindful of that, and be also generous, and don't give yourself so much of a hard time when you're trying to see if you're being successful or not. Just keep paddling, because if you're doing good stuff will come to you.
Fantastic. Well said. So how do we get a hold of you guys? Diana, are you on Twitter, Facebook, or something?
I am in, my website is www.bgirl.org.
Mm-hmm.
Same goes for our Facebook and Twitter, bgirl.org.
Okay.
And that's the way that you can get a hold of me. You can email me. You have there my contact information, or diana@bgirl.org.
Okay.
That will be the best way to reach me.
Terrific. Brian?
Compost Crew is _Compost Crew. That's our Twitter handle.
Mm-hmm.
And Facebook is just the Compost Crew. If you search on Facebook, you'll find it. And that's the easiest way to reach us. If you want to reach me personally, it's ryan@thecompostcrew.com.
Well, thanks, you guys. It's been a terrific, illuminating evening. You can listen to the audio version of this podcast on soakintpodcast.org, and you can follow me on Twitter @Rupert Scofield. You can also order my book, The Social Entrepreneur's Handbook, How to Start, Build, and Run a Business That Improves the World. Bestseller, I might add. And thanks for being with us.